And I am responsible for developing new markets and also for our new strategic partnerships, such as, for example, with our colleagues from Phillips. I'll talk about a project in Almere. It's a city in Holland. I'll explain a little bit. I'll try not to talk too much about technology because it's more about the people and the things that we do within that project. But as Living Planet, what we do is we have software that we developed, a platform that connects sensor networks in cities and infrastructures to create new and open innovation. So you will see that come back throughout what we do within the city. First of all, what is Almere and where is it? 35 years ago, Almere did not exist. Even better, the land didn't exist. There was water only. There was only water. And the people had to build actual ground to create cities. We're not there yet, obviously.
I hope it is not Phillips. For sure.
So Almere now is a city of 165,000 people. It's not that big. It was designed to take the overflow from Amsterdam, when Amsterdam grew too large to actually accommodate all the people within the historical center. So it's a suburban city, but they plan to change that. And looking to the future, Almere in 2030, they want to look to the future, become an open and innovative city, and they know that they need partnerships to get there. They want to grow, they want to diversify, and they really want to become an exciting city within Holland that people speak about. They're very close to Amsterdam, to Utrecht, and to airports, so they're in a unique situation where they really have all the capabilities. And as you've seen from the map before, they also have quite a lot of space, so this is ideal for development. They also have a few challenges. They got the mandate from the government that they have to create 100,000 new jobs. With that, they also have to create new homes for people to live in the city. They have to double in size is the mandate from the government. And that in itself brings a lot of challenges. Also, they have just recently been awarded an exhibition which only happens every 10 years in Holland. It's the International Horticulture and Agriculture Exhibition. It's a larger project that really showcases everything that horticulture and agriculture has to offer in new innovations, but also it can change the way that a city is built. It's an exhibition that runs for about a year. So they have these large challenges that they have to conquer, and they started talking to companies to help them with their approach. So about a year ago, we formed a group of 5 companies in technology that started talking to them about how could they change their approach, how could they reach their targets better, and how could they use information and technology to actually really make a difference in the way that people live, in the way that people work, in the way that people learn, and make their city more exciting for their future inhabitants. So we jointly with Almere, we came up with this approach. And with everything in there, what we saw is that information technology nowadays is so much part of the future that it should be like the 4th utility. It should be incumbent already in the city. And this changes the way that cities are built. Because what you have to do is really already plan for the future and plan to make it interchangeable. Because technology changes a lot faster than infrastructure does. So you have to really change your approach to things. And together with an energy company called Alliander in Holland, with Phillips, our partners, and then IBM and Cisco, we really sat together and we created a roadmap with Almere. And just to touch a little bit on what such a platform can do, and I won't bore you with all of the details, but the idea, as we've heard before, from other companies, but also from Phillips before, is to use infrastructure, common infrastructure that goes into cities anyways as the driver to employ ICT. So we're talking about telecommunication networks, we're talking about lighting infrastructure, energy infrastructure, and use what's there to not only finance, but also roll out and distribute new applications and new services that really can change life for citizens in cities. So speaking about that, let's give a few examples of things that we are doing within the city to pilot. Remember, there's three things that Almere focuses on. They want to be innovative for the future. They want to do so with creative partnerships that are out of the box thinking, and most of all, they really believe that people are what makes the city, so they want to involve their citizens in everything that we do for the future planning. One of the things that we started early on is talk about how can we bring these groups of people together to innovate jointly and change the way that cities are built. And what we built up, what we started in Almere, is to build up an innovation center where we invite partnerships not only from larger companies, but also small, medium, local companies to help us change the future of Almere and to help us determine what things Almere wants. So local businesses in Almere, and it doesn't have to be an IT company, but local businesses in Almere are involved in this project, working with us to innovate and come up with new business models, with new ideas, with new creativity, thinking about what things can we link together. How can we, for example, make sure that lighting does not only create light, but that we can use lighting as an infrastructure for parking, for environmental services, for sensing, for security, and for health systems. So we work with local businesses to see how we can use what exists in a current city and how we can really adapt that. We also bring in venture capital companies, because a lot of these smaller companies that have the ideas actually bring that as a driver for economic growth and want to create new jobs within their company and potentially export their ideas. One of the first pilots that we ran in Almere is a pilot we call City Center. In the city center there is a large market square, and currently there is a couple of retail businesses around it. There is a hospitality, there's a hotel, there's a casino, and we looked at what can we do with existing infrastructure that's already there. So we examined the infrastructure and saw there's lights already there. There's lighting management system, there's facade lighting, there's a fountain, there are bollards, these things that go up and down when cars have to come through, for example, because obviously it's a pedestrian area. There's retail as well available. So we looked at the infrastructures that were there and said, what can we do? And we came up with using the urban platform as a connector of all of this infrastructure. We really connected the lights, some TV screens that are there, the fountain, the bollards, but we also looked at what the businesses want, and we're creating applications that these businesses can use, thinking about things in a new way. What if you were a retail business, for example, and you want to draw a customer to your store, and you had access to data of how many people are on the square at any given moment in time. What types of people are there? Are they parking somewhere? Have they paid for their parking? Could you, for example, give them via a mobile application an incentive to come and buy stuff with you because you would pay for their parking? So we started looking into different business models, but also create a little bit of excitement. So we're creating a few games around there where people can, people's movements and sensing and patterns of how people move across the square will have an influence on the lights in the fountains and the height of the fountain. So you can start playing games. You also can start looking at where are people in the square. If I lost somebody, can I get that person up on a screen with a message? And all of this also then induces the ideas of creating advertisement moments for the businesses around there to draw people into their businesses and spend money there. Part of this obviously is also wireless connectivity. So we're working with a local company to roll out also wireless there. And then this pilot will run for about 6 months, after which we will then roll it out to the rest of the city center. Another thing that we're doing then, just to look at people, is really a need that Almere has. They have a lot of people that are immobile, that are paraplegic, that are elderly, that really need remote care, and it is one of the larger issues of these days and these times. So we looked at how can we help these people to really come up with creative and innovative solution, again using what is around in that district, in that area where the people live. We looked at how can we connect lighting. For example, why if a woman, for example, walks to her window 5 times because she's obviously scared and you can sense that there's some movement going on, why couldn't you dim up the street light so that she can see what's outside and really feel safer? So what we focus on is really applications that use, again, that urban platform and the infrastructures below it, like energy, like telecommunication, like lighting, to really enable more and different services. It can be as simple as using video communication, for example. What they're doing is they're running physiotherapy with people, elderly people at home. So people will connect via an iPad to Skype, and they will have a trainer. They do this in groups, so you see the whole groups in the videos, but also they are being recorded in the exercises that they do. And these exercises can be replayed to them one-on-one, and their trainer can help them improve, thus improving mobility of the elderly there, and also making them feel included and making them feel social cohesive with the people around there. These are just a few examples. There's more things that we're working on. Another very important thing is, if you want to increase your city by half, then you have to really change the way that you plan things. So they have this big exercise coming up in 2022 where they have to have an exhibition. In that exhibition area, they don't have anything much built there yet. Because remember, Almere has an open spaces, they're a lot wider. But if you want to build in that short amount of time and really make use of all of the new infrastructures and the digital platforms, you have to build it in a different way. The technology has to go in with the planning. So we use modeling and simulation that has been used for years and years and years in other industries, such as airplanes, for example. You don't really just build an airplane on site and then send it up in the air to test it, just like we currently do with houses. You simulate and you really run through everything that could potentially happen and everything that fits into an airplane before you send it up in real life. And that's the approach we're taking here as well. We're working together with citizens, we're putting in what do we think citizens need, but also putting in what is happening in that area. Like if there is a major exhibition coming up, we need to facilitate for that. And then we run modeling and simulation using again that platform and making sure the infrastructure that that platform will connect to in the future is actually in the place it needs to be. This is one of the pictures of that come out of such an urban planning and exercise. And what Almere wants to do with this exhibition is they have focus areas that they create on. So there is, again, if we talked about people and innovation, the city wants to be a very green, sustainable city, but not just green as in using green energy, but really physically green. They have a lot of agriculture and horticulture around, and they want to bring that into the city, create new concepts with urban farming, with local produce, with experimenting with different food types and really biological food types for people. And that exhibition will actually become part of the city. It will not be just an area outside somewhere in the city, but it will be part of buildings, part of daily city life with cafes and restaurants and a lot of economic opportunities for local businesses there as well. So the exhibition itself also needs a lot of technology because the agriculture nowadays uses a lot of technology, but also you want to show that to people. People that come and visit and look at the exhibition will want to have an experience and will want to know how did we do that, why did we do that. And all of that, again, uses the underlying urban platform to measure how we build these things, where the data comes from, what we can do with it, and how we can enable small businesses to innovate on top of it. And I guess that's one of the larger changes now as well, apart from the behavioral change that is coming up now, which has been talked about very much this morning as well. We need to be more open with the data. So what we're doing as well in Almere is really looking at how can you use open data concepts, how does the municipality license data to businesses to be able to create economic opportunities and to create jobs in that area. The principles that Almere set for themselves are quite easy. They want to make life better for their citizens. They want to make things easier, both for businesses to do business, but for the municipality, but also for the citizens themselves. And they want to make things more fun around their city, as well as potentially making it cheaper. Obviously, that's something that happens all over the world. They want to make things cheaper and more cost effective. So they put these 4 points in top. And just to sum up, basically, that needs then different approaches. It needs to change in the way that cities are built. You need to use that data and really create open standards and open data that people can innovate on. And then also don't forget that people make the city, and these people will have new and different expectations on quality of life. Young people that grow up and live in these future cities will expect many more different types of services that you have to accommodate for, and quality of life will be reimagined in ways in the next 30 years that we can't even imagine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.